Ethan Cole, a quiet millionaire known for his sharp business mind but soft heart, had always believed that kindness didn't need an audience. But on this cloudy Saturday morning, as he sat in a small-town cafe with his 7-year-old daughter Leela, he realized kindness sometimes needed a spark, one that could come from the smallest voice. The cafe smelled like warm bread and cinnamon, and Leela hummed while stirring her hot chocolate, kicking her little legs under the table. Across from them sat a young single mother, Emily, trying her best to hide the exhaustion on her face as she counted coins on her palm. Beside her were her 2 children, a shy boy with big brown eyes and a little girl clutching a worn-out plush rabbit. Their clothes were clean but faded, their cheeks hollow from meals skipped, their eyes darting toward the food on other tables as if they'd forgotten what a full meal felt like. Emily whispered apologies to them, forcing a smile despite the shame tightening her throat. She finally gathered just enough money for one small sandwich. One sandwich for 3 people. Ethan watched quietly. He had seen poverty before. He wasn't blind to the struggles that lived outside the polished glass walls of his company. But seeing a mother break a sandwich into 3 tiny pieces made something heavy settle in his chest. Leela noticed too. Children often saw what adults ignored. She leaned toward her father and whispered, "Dad, can I share with them?" Ethan turned to her, surprised by the question, but the purity in her eyes reminded him of his late wife, who always said, "Real wealth is measured by the hearts we lift, not the money we keep." Leela continued, "They look hungry, Daddy. And she looks sad." Emily's hands trembled as she tried to hide her tears from her kids, giving them her own portion of the sandwich when she thought they weren't looking. Leela tugged on Ethan's sleeve, pleading silently. That was the moment Ethan realized kindness wasn't something he needed to teach Leela. She already carried it inside her. He stood, walked to the cashier, and ordered the largest meals the cafe offered: pancakes, eggs, fruit bowls, warm muffins, and hot chocolate for the kids. But instead of serving it to Leela and himself, he asked the waiter to take it to Emily's table anonymously. When the plates arrived, Emily froze. Her children looked around with wide, confused eyes as if afraid the food would vanish. "Excuse me," she told the waiter softly, "this must be a mistake." The waiter smiled. "Someone wanted you to have this. No mistake." Emily's lips quivered as she whispered thank you over and over, tears slipping down her cheeks. Her son grabbed a pancake but stopped, looking up at her for permission. "Eat, sweetheart," she whispered. "It's okay." As the children dug in, Emily covered her face, overwhelmed by a kindness she hadn't felt in years. Leela watched with a gentle smile but then turned to Ethan and said, "Daddy, can we tell her it's from us? I just want her to feel like she's not alone." Ethan hesitated. He didn't like attention for good deeds. But when he looked at Leela, he knew this wasn't about recognition. It was about connection, about showing someone they mattered. So he nodded. Leela hopped off her chair, walked to Emily's table, and tapped her hand softly. Emily lifted her head, startled, wiping away tears as she looked into the sweet, innocent face of the little girl who had walked straight into her heart. "Hi," Leela said shyly. "My daddy and I thought, maybe you'd like breakfast with us." Emily pressed a hand to her chest, stunned. No one had invited her to anything in years. She looked at Ethan, who simply gave a warm, respectful nod, and for the first time in a long time, someone's kindness didn't feel like charity. It felt like hope, and hope was something she desperately needed. Emily hesitated only a moment before she gathered her children and moved to Ethan and Leela's table, still overwhelmed but guided by a feeling she hadn't experienced in years: safety. As she settled into the chair, Leela scooted closer to the 2 kids, instantly chatting like they'd been friends forever. Ethan watched the small scene unfold. A lonely mother slowly relaxing, 2 hungry kids finally laughing, and his own daughter shining with the delight of helping someone. "Thank you," Emily whispered, her voice cracking. I didn't know how I was going to feed them today." She stared at her hands, embarrassed. Ethan leaned forward and said gently, "You don't need to explain anything." We're just glad you're here with us. Emily's eyes filled again, but this time the tears came from relief, not shame. She confessed that she had lost her job 2 months earlier, that rent was overdue, and she had been trying to keep her children believing that everything would be okay even when she no longer believed it herself. I just needed time to get back on my feet, she said softly. But life, it's been heavy. Ethan listened without judgment. He knew all too well how fast life could collapse. He had lost his wife in a car accident when Leela was 3, and he had raised his daughter alone while struggling with grief nobody could see behind his wealth. Life gets heavy for all of us, he said. But sometimes the right people show up at the right moment. Emily looked at him, searching his eyes, and saw sincerity, not pity. Meanwhile, her children laughed as Leela taught them how to draw hearts on the fogged cafe window. That simple joy, the sound of children being children, wrapped the table in warmth. After breakfast, Ethan paid the bill quietly, and as they stepped outside, Leela hugged Emily's daughter tightly as if they had known each other for years. Emily watched, her chest aching with gratitude she didn't know how to express. Ethan handed Emily a small card. My company is looking for administrative help, he said. If you're willing, I'd like you to come in Monday. Not as charity, as an opportunity. Emily covered her mouth, sobbing. Why are you doing this? She managed to ask. Ethan looked down at Leela, who smiled at them both, and he answered, because someone once helped me when I needed it. And because kindness grows when we share it. Emily accepted the card with trembling fingers. Her children hugged Ethan and Leela tightly before leaving. As the three of them walked away, Emily kept turning back, as though afraid the moment had been a dream that might vanish. Ethan felt something shift inside him, a reminder that life still held beautiful surprises, that kindness still mattered. Leela slipped her hand into his and whispered, Daddy, can we always help people like them? Ethan smiled. Yes, sweetheart, always. The screen fades as narrator's voice rises. Sometimes it takes the innocence of a child to remind us what true wealth really is. If this story touched your heart, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so more beautiful stories can find you.